Hello friends, it's Kat from Meow Kapow. Inexpensive art supplies are something I think most of us desperately want in our souls, but there are so many out there, it's hard to find out what's trash and what's treasure. If you're a fan of both affordability and Amazon, you're probably already familiar with Meeden's metal watercolor palettes, but did you know that they also make watercolor brushes? In the interest of full disclosure, I emailed Meeden and asked them if I could review these brushes for them, and they sent me this set for free. I'm not being paid or anything otherwise though. To test these out, we'll be using them with this palette of White Nights watercolors, and yes, I will be reviewing these. I know you're just as interested in them as I was. Thank you so much for being just a bit more patient. Here's a bubba to make it all better. We're throwing back to a classic Meow Kapow technique for this one as well, the Doodle Finder. Best and least stressful way to test unfamiliar products, if you ask me. This pack of 3 Meeden brushes, which actually have the branding of Monet on the handles, are available on Amazon for $19.99. The listing identifies the bristles as being made of nylon and recommends them for use with both watercolor and gouache. You'll see that the bristles are actually very soft, so they may be a bit more difficult to use with gouache than they are with watercolor. My personal experience with gouache has led me to believe that a more firm brush is a bit better, but please feel free to comment with your favorite gouache brush because so far I haven't found one. One thing that sort of shocked me when I got these in the mail is that they're massive. The handles are super thick, but they have a comfortable grip due to the indents near the ferrule. The brush sizes are 18, 14, and 10. 10 being the only one that I actually have a match for in size already. To me, my existing 2-year-old Simply Simmons size 10 looks like a cute little baby up against these big green monsters, but that's just me. I think the coating was fine on the smallest brush, the size 10, but it was a bit excessive on the large 18 and actually completely contaminated the water I was using and ended up making the paint move in uneven, thick clumps until I cleaned it out. While the Amazon listing says that these are great mop brushes that hold a lot of water, I noticed that I had to go back and forth quite a lot in order to get a nice large puddle of liquid. So I don't think that these bristles really grab enough water to be good mop brushes. I also noticed that the control of the brush seemed to be a bit inconsistent. Sometimes I would inexplicably have too much of my wash in my brush and not be able to make controlled lines. And other times it was like I couldn't control the brush because it was suddenly too dry. It was sort of almost like when you reach into your pockets expecting to find a couple of extra pennies when you really need them, but come up empty-handed. Then later in the day you'll find a $20 bill in your couch cushions long after the problem was resolved. My water control with brushes is already mediocre at best, but I struggled extra hard with these bad boys. With the number 10 brush, I felt like the line control was probably the best of the bunch, and it was relatively easier to make details and get into tight corners, but I never really felt like the lines had the ability to be really sharp, especially like I'd expect from a brand new brush. They overall weren't terrible to use, but I had a feeling that my much-loved, heavily abused, super inexpensive, and previously mentioned 2-year-old Simply Simmons brush was better than these. So, onwards with testing. First of all, these brushes are advertised as mop brushes, so they should easily be able to cover huge areas of paper with just one go, like the silver black velvet brushes I reviewed were able to. Sadly, even the enormous size 18 wasn't able to make it to the bottom of this page before running out. Its line control wasn't super stellar either, and I have absolutely had giant brushes like this before that were able to make sharper lines with their very tippy tip. The same was pretty much true for all 3 of the brushes, with their capacity being unimpressive at best and their points being disappointingly dull. Compared to that other brush I already have and which I have never properly cared for, they're clearly not as good. To wrap up, I was going to just demonstrate how soft and nice feeling these Meeden brushes are, but while gently just playing with them, a bunch of bristles started to fall out of the size 18. Nothing came out of the other 2, but the large one simply would not stop shedding, and its shape kept transforming a bit each time to show which bristles were likely to fall out next. This reminded me of a trick I used a long time ago that I used to use while shopping for brushes in a store. Someone told me that if you dunk a brush in water and then slap the handle on your finger or the edge of a water bottle or whatever, doing so will show you the true shape of the brush. If you're in a store and all of the bristles of a brush are crazy while dry, you can sometimes see whether or not that brush is still actually good by doing this. The results were pretty shocking, actually. Every single one of the Meeden brushes were shaped super jaggedly, and the bristles really didn't come naturally to a point. To show you how this should work, I did the exact same thing with what I would arguably call my raggedy Simmons brush. Keep in mind, I have literally never cleaned this brush before, and originally bought it in a set of 4 at Michael's for like $10, and it still easily came back to its intended point. You can even see how springy it is when I hit it a couple of extra times, and the bristles still didn't separate and get all weird like the Meeden ones. So I guess this explains a bit about the inconsistencies I felt in the Meeden brushes. At the end of the day, I'd say between trash and treasure, these Meeden brushes are a trash find. I'd recommend the alternative of the Simply Simmons brush that I've been using as a comparison this whole time, but it seems like it's impossible for me to now find this exact brush in the set it originally came in, or at a good price. So as an alternative to this set of $20 brushes, I'm going to go a bit off book and recommend one brush for just under $20, the Escoda Versatile Travel Brush in size 10. Even though I don't have any footage of it in this, it has been my favorite brush for over a year now, and that one single brush is more versatile than the 3 Meeden brushes put together. Links for it, as well as a few more things, will be down in the doobly-doo, as always. Please consider throwing a like and a subscribe my way if you want to see more videos like this as well. I'm curious, do you have a favorite brush? Expensive, inexpensive, doesn't matter to me, I just want to know why you like it. Until I see you next time, I wish you peace, love, and some great points. Bye!